What's going on, everybody? Went out for a photo shoot last weekend at the Aztec Indian ruins, link above, and shot some pictures with the old Canon SL3 and a kit lens. Even left the tripod at home. Something I like to do every once in a while. Just take out the worst gear you got and do the best you can with it. Find it kind of helps jog the memory to help live some of those limitations again, refire some of the old synapses, and maybe bring back some things you forgot. So that's what happened. That's what I did. And I was kind of doing that before picking up my new lens. Came in the mail today. 19 to 35 Tamron for my full frame camera. I'm going to take that out, start shooting it a little more. And before I did, I kind of just wanted to take the old gear out for a run. Came back with two images. One I really like, and one I wish I would have took a little more time with. But we're going to look at them both, critique them both, and do a quick Lightroom edit. Shouldn't be too long of a video today, so let's dive on in. We got our first image here. This is from the main overlook of pretty much all the ruins there at the Aztec Indian ruins. First off, the image is a little underexposed, so let's lift that up. And second off, it's horribly unbalanced. Got this big negative space down here in the bottom right. And it adds nothing to the image. If anything, it takes away. I've been messing around with it. I tried a different crop. And come there, take that tree branch out. It's kind of a distraction, but it doesn't help the negative space. I can come all the way in here. That still doesn't help the negative space, and I lose these two circular structures in the right center of the image that I really like. So, in retrospect, I probably could have moved around a little bit to the right, reframed it up, and came away with a lot better image. But let's see what we can do with it anyways. I'm going to crop in this telephone pole, or crop out that telephone pole, and take this distracting branch in as much as I can without losing this circular structure. Heal out what's left. And that's a little better. Kind of want to go for a high contrast, low saturation filmic look. And one of the first things I should do, let's darken down this corner. Throw in a linear gradient. Something like that. Takes the texture down. It helps a little bit. Reframing would have helped a lot more. Alright, so I'm going to take my contrast up a little bit here. Drop my saturation quite a bit. Lift my shadows. Lift my whites. Drop my blacks. Take my highlights up some. And do a pretty aggressive S-curve for that high contrast, kind of low-key look. Something about like that. Take my texture down here, bring my clarity up some. And drop my saturation in my reds, a little in my yellows, greens, aquas, purple, and magenta. In my luminance, I'm going to take my blues down so they're a little darker. Oh, if you go too much, you kind of get a halo around those tree branches. Take them down about -13. And then I want to throw a little blue in my shadows. A little orange in my highlights. Put my blending a little more towards the shadows and my balance as well. And that's kind of what I was looking for, a little low saturation, high contrast, kind of filmic look. To top it off and throw quite a bit of grain in there. About 30. Take the size down to about 20. And there we go. Something I wish I would have took a little more time with, but that's what we got. So here is before and here is after. So moving on to the next image. All right, then for this image, I really like this one. I like the kind of narrowing corridor shots, and this particular spot has some gaps in the wall. It lets the light shine through. Really gets some interesting features in the highlights and shadows. I like the texture of the rocks and the wood kind of, I guess they're not archways, but the wood doorways there. And the leading lines of the diagonals, bringing you into the frame. I really feel like the image just draws you in. So one of the first things I want to do, it looks a little crooked to me. Straighten it out. Just like that. Then I just want to accentuate some of these highlights and shadows. One of the first things I'm going to do, bring in a radial gradient. And I just kind of want to invite you into the picture here. A little wider with that. And bring the temperature up a little bit. Contrast as well. Moving on to a brush. Do a little dodging. Exposure up. Contrast. A little bit on the temp and a little bit on the whites. Up about a quarter of a stop. So these areas that are already kind of highlighted, I want to make them pop just a little more. See what we've painted in there. That looks pretty good, but I'm going to bring my exposure up some more. Full stop on that, I think looks best. Pop open another brush. A little burning, bring our exposure down. And take a little bit of the saturation out of the shadows. I'm just going to kind of paint these darker areas in a little bit. And because all the detail in these rocks, the different texture and everything, I have my auto mask turned off. Flows a little lower, around 30, feather at 80. You can see there what we've done. I want to darken my upper corners up just a hair. Kind of like a vignette, but I don't want to affect the bottom entryway here. And take that down just a little over 3/4 of a stop. And looking back at it, I think I'm going to delete that radial filter and try something a little different. Come back here to my highlight brush, and I just want to focus on just this part here. Kind of felt like I was drawing too much attention to the bottom of the image. So we're going to go the other way with it. Throw on a linear gradient, drag it up from the bottom, take our exposure down. And that to me works better. So there we go. We got some nice framing, nice leading lines, texture, shadows, highlights. 1/3 line down here on the last doorway, kind of inviting you into the image. Simple, but I like it. All right, if you guys like it as well, please hit that like and subscribe. We're trying to put out a video a week. Gonna be taking this beast out more with my new lens. Replaced the landscape lens I broke a real long time ago for my full frame camera. Just hadn't gotten around to spending the cash. But I got a new used to me lens, a used new to me lens, and we're gonna see what it can do. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. You have a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holidays. Till the next one.